Good afternoon. See, we've been operating these data centers for almost a decade now, and we definitely had challenges at various points, and we have addressed these challenges sometimes with technology, sometimes with policy. But I very strongly believe that today, it's on. Can't hear you? Is it okay now? Okay, sorry. So good afternoon once again. What I was trying to address is that, we've been operating these data centers. Can't hear? I thought I speak otherwise also pretty loud. I think you may have to do it from this thing. Okay. Hello? Is it okay now? Yeah. Okay, sorry. So it's almost 10 years we've been handling these data centers, and time and again we had issues, we had challenges, but we have mostly addressed it with technology, sometimes with policy and things like this. But I strongly believe that today we are at a stage where we are going to see some kind of paradigm shifts in the way we operate these data centers or way we avail services even from these data centers. So that's what I'm going to talk to you in next 7 slides and 6 minutes, as Chairman has said. See, data centers, if you look at it, are at the core of any e-governance infrastructure. Whether you're sending an email or you're trying to do a social networking or you're trying to see a website, at the end there is some data center, some server in some data center which is in action at that point of time. So whole of this network and all, when you avail services, is the data center at the back which are getting into it. And as I think in the room by last 4 presentations, we have somewhere come to a convergence saying that it is not necessary that each department or each small constituent of the government gets into a data center alone. So when you as a department or you as an organization trying to avail a data center service, what is that your expectation? Expectation, you need a multi-tier security for your data center, whether it is physical or cyber security. You need availability of your resources as well as availability of additional resources, whether it is infrastructure, extra power, extra cooling, or extra ICT resources, storage on demand, you need CPU on demand and things like that. Then you need flexibility. That means at any point of time, if you want to give any kind of a configuration change or platform change, you should be able to do it conveniently. So you sort of, which basically gives you an agility in extending your service to your end user. And last but not the least, which has been covered in detail, is the efficiency, whether it's a cost efficiency, whether it is energy efficiency, or whether it is human resource efficiency, where you want to manage with less number of manpower, because that is where data center becomes, operating cost becomes very, very high. So in a nutshell, these challenges we have talked about, we have faced in the past also. Real estate prices always escalating and booming, power cost, cooling cost, cost of maintenance. Asset management has become a major concern nowadays, because as data centers are getting more and more populated, number of servers moving every week, you really need to keep control of all these assets into it. But what is really playing a big into this thing is an exponential growth in data. It's primarily because the way we are living today, it's practically we always connected digital world. So whether you are trying to send a mail, or let's say you're trying to write a blog, primarily this has happened, because the whole mechanism of interacting with internet medium has itself gone a shift. There was a time few select companies will put website, they'll put content. But today with this Web 2.0, the tables have actually turned. And anyone in this hall could be a person who could publish in this medium. Anyone could start a website. Anyone can write a blog. So the amount of data being generated has really become exponential. And all these data finally is getting into this thing. Second thing happened is the requirement for compliance to various regulations, whether it is medical record, 7 years you have to keep data, email, certain number of years you have to keep. So these regulations also have required you to keep a huge data and keep it into data centers. So that's another challenge we have. On the other side, we have technology, which always comes at rescue, and we all know about these things. Virtualization, everyone knows, cloud computing, multi-core CPUs. Today, if you look at it, your CPU is far more powerful than what you have your applications demanding. Any time I can bet you just open your server and ask how much CPU. CPU utilization will not cross 2 digits. It's 10%, 7%, 3%. That is how. It's all these CPUs just lying idle there. So therefore you have virtualization, slicing your CPUs and things like this. There's another new thing coming is the convergence of any data center. Normally you have two kinds of cables running. One is storage cables running, that FC cables. On the other side you have UDP cables running. And people who have been into it understand how difficult it is to manage this cable as it grows, you know. So now we are coming with this convergence. You have a single cable which will carry both the things. DC operations management. As your resources increase, managing these resources, meeting your SLAs, DC operations management becomes a huge issue. So we have large number of software pieces coming. We had a presentation here also in the beginning, which is coming, which help you, you know, managing these data centers kind of from a dashboard or from a single console. Remote management of these data centers. You know, we have always grown with the philosophy that in the data center, there has to be INOC room, there has to be a seating capacity where people can sit, monitor and manage. It's no longer required. You can manage your data center even from a remote location. Modular data centers, something coming in a container, a whole, different people have given different. This is what is technology offering you today. And what actually when you have, so one thing which has really caught attention of and has a lot of hype and actually in use is cloud computing and virtualization. Moment you do this cloud computing or virtualization, as you see, a lot of your challenges not only get addressed out of those four factors which I was talking, barring the security, because security has, it still has to come to a concern. We say that clouds are absolutely secure, but whether it is your efficiency, whether it is your flexibility, whether it's availability, to a large extent gets addressed by once you have your virtualization active into it. What more it gives you, your ability to innovate of the user. Supposing I want to launch a particular written delivery service into a different model. Today if I have to buy a set of servers, I have to procure them, then I have to do 100 justifications, and I'm not sure whether this model will succeed or no. So if after a year down the line I feel, no, it's not working, where do I go? So on the other hand, if you're onto a cloud or if you're onto a virtualized this thing, what you need to do is from your data center, which is your government data center, lease machines only for 3 months or maybe only for 1 year. Launch your application, launch your mode of delivery, see how is it working. If it works well, you have a flexibility in the data center for ask for more resources. If it doesn't work, just pay for whatever you have used and that's you're out of it. So the whole thing becomes much more flexible than what it was perhaps some time ago. Now, as we say, anything which has a lot of pluses will always have some kind of a negative aspect also. So if you look at this IDC study, it shows over the time, especially if you look at from year 2008 onwards, while the expenditure on servers is going down, this is an international study, okay, is going down, the CPU, the power and energy cost is also has become constant, will continue constant, but lot of expenditure is going to come in data center operations is the management of these resources. And as the time is increasing, more on management of these virtual resources. So therefore nowadays, if you look at it, there's a lot of nowadays things being talked about data center management softwares. How do you get these softwares which increase your efficiency in terms of managing these data centers, getting all those alerts, all those automatically configured things right from these softwares. So what I'm saying is that we are going to give a paradigm shift, as Subir also said, we are getting into a consolidation. Maybe in our country we do not need consolidation because we started late, but definitely as Chairman also said, we need to look at a point that let us, every time we have, as of today you have 5 national data centers of NIC, we have, we are on the anvil of getting 35 state data centers and some large department centers and something like this. So we have a reasonably good infrastructure as of today in terms of data centers are concerned in the government domain. So tomorrow if we have to begin another project and we think there's a data center, please explore the existing possibilities and try to be inside that instead of initiating a project of another data center. So that's what I'm saying. Instead of having data center sprawl, we're going to move to a consolidation worldwide. But and this is something where not only private sectors have started consolidating, even government has started looking into. As I was giving examples of US government and UK, and I'm sure this is going to come to other nations as well. We used to co-locate our servers. I have servers. Can I bring a data center? Will you give me this power? And all kinds of things. How will you give me security? Now, no more that's needed. Please do not go and put in your servers. Just ask for virtual machines. Because when you will work it, it's exactly almost the same experience at much lesser cost. We are going to see from asset ownership. As data center operators, we always used to worry about the assets because these assets belong to different departments. So I am always worried about security, physical security in the night, in the day. From there, now I'm only worried how do we provision these things? How do I give him the required resource, whether it's CPU or this thing at this time? So see, it's not only getting into, technology change, it's also making fundamentally the way we think. The people who operate data centers, for them, there is a mind shift also has to change. There's a shift in your mindset also. How do you look at these things? Physical DCs. I'm saying today, if you supposing you want to do some 20 rack data center, please do not go and build. There is no need of this. There are huge data centers available. Make a virtual data center. What do you need there? You're not bothered about power and cooling. You're basically bothered when you're saying you need your own data center. You need a complete control. You need physical security. You need cyber security to be managed by your own people. You do not want somebody else to manage it. So go for a virtual data center. Ask for a 20 rack space. If you are more concerned, ask it to cage it. They'll cage it for you. Put in your surveillance cameras and manage from your location comfortably. There is perhaps no need of moving on to this. So we'll move from virtual physical DCs to virtual DCs. Remote management of DCs, where I in fact feel not only that it gives me managing my data centers better, because these are connected. If I can manage my data center as well, sitting at my remote location, maybe so many kilometers away, and then having a data center, then what I used to do. So my requirement for having a physical data center, 50% goes. I'm okay with virtual data because I have the dashboard always in front of me. So therefore, remote management of these data centers, and see the huge bandwidth now available even in the government space with NK and a number of other SWAN coming onto it. It's becoming a reality. Today, we have number of data machines in a Hyderabad data center, and believe me, in last 5 years, I have not even visited the center once. And everything just works on it. So there's no need of getting. Even the DC management software, which because all these softwares come license based. That means per CPU you have to go give cost for these DC. So which also is an expensive thing. They have also now come to this thing, and now these software are in a software as a service. So in nutshell, what we are saying is the data centers, which used to be a capital cost, where you used to upfront put in a lot of costs even before you start doing your service, so actually we are going to move it to pay as you use. So it becomes more of a reality than what you see. Thank you very much.